Hey, just a friendly reminder. Yeah, no, just kill Mike.
This is a smash. I used to
I don't
love
remember
this
this at
song.
all. Oh, wow. All right. I don't remember that. I don't remember that record at all.
Yeah.
We're going to be out at the ice skating rink across the street from Golden One Center.
That's right.
If you're coming to the game tonight, we'll be out there. It's going to sound like we're going to get there in 10 minutes. We're really leaving right after we wrap up here on ESPN 1320. We're driving downtown. We're doing the second part of our 1025 show live from the ice skating rink, mixing the whole deal. It's going to be a blast. Come through. If you're going to the game, come through. Like you're there anyways. Come see us.
Come pull up. Leave 15, 20 minutes earlier, man. Come check us out.
Yeah, just come see us. We do have tickets, by the way, to the Sacramento Comedy Festival.
That's right. Some more. Lavelle Campbell.
Nope. Lavelle Crawford.
Oh, what I say?
God, got you again.
Gosh.
Man, Lavelle Crawford is kicking your ass. You said it with confidence, too, like he was your uncle. Like you just married into the family.
Oh, man, Lavelle Crawford, my bad. That's
part of me thought, like, is he joking or is he serious? Is he
That's one of my
favorites,
favorites. My bad, Lavelle.
You talking about a groin?
A groin. DC Curry going to be there, and our man Bill Bellamy going to be there. And we've got tickets. We'll be giving them away out at the ice skating rink. So, again, come through. Hang out. We'd love to see you. James Ham will be introducing Lavelle Crawford at the Sacramento Comedy Festival coming up in February at the Hard Rock Live. Hammer here with us. James, appreciate you tuning in. Let's start with De'Aaron. Why were we lied to? Why is Shams out here tweeting about Saturday and, oh, it's not that bad, maybe a week? We all thought De'Aaron was pretty hurt in that Laker game, the way he was leaving the floor, gutting it out. Even when he was gutting it out, I was like, he's not moving very well. I don't think anyone's shocked that he's not playing or shouldn't be shocked that he's not playing. But why reports that, oh, it's not that bad, he could be back this weekend?
Yeah, I'm confused.
And remember, by the way, sorry, James, one more thing. Remember, De'Aaron was asked about that. After De'Aaron was like, I didn't see that report.
Yeah, I thought it was strange at the time, but it looks even more strange now. Like, look, a player's ankle, like, we have no idea how it's going to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you have to wait it out. This is like a really high-end athlete that does everything possible to get back on the court, but like he doesn't need to be pushed into action by reports and stuff like that. So I don't know who gave that to Shams, but it clearly at this point is completely incorrect. And we're like an additional 7 days past that.
Mm-hmm.
So like, look, I don't know when he's going to be back. I told you guys I saw him last Wednesday, like when I was at Golden State, and he's walking around okay. He's not wearing a boot or anything, but like, look, you have to be 100% in this league if you're going to play. I mean, even when he comes back, whatever it is, whatever game, whether it's Monday or whether it's Wednesday or it's later in the week, he's still going to have 70 games left to play plus. So like, you want that thing right. You don't want him like middle of the season starting to have like plantar fasciitis or some sort of tendonitis in that ankle, or it just to turn to mush. Like it can do that where you just can't push off the same way. So get him healthy. The medical staff has proved last year that they're excellent. They know what they're doing, and hopefully he'll be back soon.
One of the things I always wonder with these injury situations, and you would know him, why it's this way or if this is even a real thing, but does it matter if they're like at home or on the road or something like that, as far as like bringing people back? And it feels like they try to bring them back at, home or the beginning of home stands and stuff like that, and not so much on the road. That's the way it feels. I don't know if that's accurate. If that's the truth, after Monday, they're not going to be home for a while. So
yeah, no, he's going to, as soon as he can put a practice together and survive a practice, maybe two, he'll be back on the court, whether that's at home or whether it's on the road. It just, it is what it is. Like, and again, like, Leezy, I know it's probably like tongue in cheek here, but like Sabonis played with a broken hand. Like, There's a big difference between playing with a broken bone in your offhand and playing with a bad wheel. And like, look, these things happen. Like, this isn't the first time De'Aaron Fox has missed time because of an ankle injury. It won't be the last time. And what you don't want to do is set that thing up to where it becomes a chronic issue. And you got to get him right. And he's doing all he needs to do. He's getting treatment. He's again doing everything possible to get back out on the court. That's who he is. But you got to be patient. And this team was supposed to be built in a way that they could withstand this. And so far, it's been a little up and down. I don't, you got one win out of 4. You got one game that that one win came in overtime against a pretty bad team. You got 2 losses against an up and coming, but still like marginal team. And then you have one really good game against the Warriors where you got beat by a Hall of Famer on the last shot. So I don't think that they've proven that they can't hold up in these situations. But the schedule keeps coming at you. It's not going to stop because De'Aaron Fox isn't there.
And tonight's going to be tough. Tonight's going to be
really tough.
Just as tough as the Rockets games were, if not tougher, just as tough as the Portland Trailblazers game was. Do we have any update on Trey Lyles?
No, it's kind of the same thing. Again, calf injuries, you have to remember that it's not just like you don't just have to get to a point where the calf doesn't hurt anymore. Once you get to that point, you need to rebuild the strength in the calf. It's a very, very strange muscle, but it also
it's very delicate.
It's very delicate, and it's the only thing that protects the Achilles. And so you don't just want to rush him back out there. Like a calf strain, like it can be 6 to 8 weeks. Like, and this was supposed to be a mild calf strain, but that doesn't change that this could be a little while still. They really need Trey Lyles.
Yeah.
Like if you look at, where Sasha was game 1, game 2, game 3, and then where he is today, getting a DNP last game, but really the games before that, he really struggled. You're missing Trey Lyles all the time, and you're missing the ability. You can't play small ball. There's no way to go small ball with this team right now because Trey's gone. And so he's just an added dimension. And as soon as they can get him back, I think, they'll have him out there, but you got to be patient.
Yeah, I'm not a professional athlete. Newsflash.
Yep.
But I think I was probably about early 30s, maybe 31, 32. And it was a calf strain, but that's like a tear. And I'm not saying it's the case for Trey, but I never felt good again. Like I've never felt good with my calf after that happened. So I only say that to say, no, once again, not to say that's what happened with Trey, but the severity and like being very cautious with how you treat these things. Like, because if you don't treat it well, or if you do rush it back, we talk about the Achilles for sure, but it's also something that you can just keep dealing with forever. Like if you don't build the strength back the right way and everything else like that, you could just keep dealing with the Achilles for the rest of the year, for your career, whatever the case may be. So
yeah,
you got to make sure.
Well, and most athletes, I mean, they've gotten better with the Achilles surgery, but most athletes are never quite the same. Like if you go through a full Achilles tear, you're not going to be the same. So, yeah, this thing's moving all over the place.
Poor Ham.
There we go. No, yeah. Here's something that I'll point out. Like I remember very distinctly that Kevin Durant strained his calf, right? And he worked trying to get back for the playoffs. And the Warriors came out and bluntly said, hey, there is no more damage he can do to this. It's just, a pain management thing. It's just trying to get through it. And, he said he's okay to go. We're going to let him go. And we're going to play it cautiously and play it by ear and watch him and all that stuff. But hey, look, he says he's ready to go and he can't do any more damage. I had someone very distinctly reach out to me and say, that is not true. Absolutely not. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, that he can't do any more damage. And then what happens? He goes out and you pop an Achilles, it happens immediately. Like it's not like a build up. you can have a frayed Achilles, and then like eventually it leads to popping, like rupturing the Achilles tendon. I remember again, Rudy Gay had like been struggling with some tendonitis and like a little bit of a frayed Achilles before he popped his Achilles tendon. But with Kevin Durant, like they put him out there and he popped his Achilles. Now he wanted to be out there, but at some point you got to say, hey, look,
No.
it's a long season, but it's not only no for today, it's no because it changes everything for you long term. Like you're a different player afterwards. And for a guy like Trey Lyles, like he's on a 2-year deal. He's not on some 4-year, 5-year deal where he's set for life. Like you want him to be able to this to be one of like 2 or 3 more contracts.
Yeah, Katie got a max contract with one Achilles.
Right.
Like that's not happening to Trey.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And it's a little bit of a side note conversation. I know people talk about the Warriors in that situation a lot. I mean, it's a tough situation not only for the Warriors but for Kevin Durant. This isn't Trey. Kevin Durant had an opportunity to win a title, and you want to make sure you're giving him as much accurate information as possible. But for him, he's probably thinking, all right, I feel better. I want to try it. Like I'm in the finals. This is in game 4 of the season. I'm in the finals. I can win another title.
I got
and
you.
it's probably, he's probably thinking I want to try.
But to me, it's literally like it's a doctor's job to say, I just don't think you can't. It's different. What happened to Isaiah Thomas? Like Kevin Durant, still Kevin Durant. Isaiah Thomas was done. And it may have been quiet. That medical staff in Boston, that's all they all gone. Every single one of them gone. There's a reason for that. Yeah. You've sometimes, whether right or wrong, I know, athletes, sports, it's the ultimate, form of competitiveness. I'm a doctor. My job is to tell you, if you go out there, you're going to get hurt. Now, like the probability of you getting hurt is very high.
That's not fair because not every calf strain leads to a popped Achilles.
No, and you're right. That's why I tried to say the probability of you getting hurt is like very, very high if you go out there without the proper, as James was talking about earlier. Part of a calf strain is the rebuild in that process, building like calf muscles and calf. I think it's 3 muscles, that outer, inner, and then down the middle, and then they all connect there at the bottom. And you've got to build them all individually. You've got to roll them individually. You got to massage them individually. And it's a process. And it's why sometimes this stuff takes so long. It's like the Devin Booker stuff. Like, what is Devin Booker's injury? Because y'all said it was a calf strain. If it's a calf strain, I'm talking about him coming back tomorrow. He ain't coming back tomorrow. He better not come back tomorrow. Because the last time he came back to be ready for game 1, what happened? He didn't play for like 4 games. Right. And like these, I think sometimes these teams get a little loose with these diagnoses, which is why I'm always of the belief, like, you trust your team doctor, you trust your physicians. You also go talk to someone who doesn't have an interest in whether this team wins or lose.
Yeah, you need an outside like consultation. And I would say, like, you guys, like, Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant. Well, he's not. Kevin Durant, the year before his Achilles injury, he played 78 games. He's played 32, 55, and 47 over the last couple of seasons. That's it. So he's not the same player. He's not as durable. And it's not just that the Achilles is still a problem, but when you have a major injury like that, it takes its toll on everything else. And so, look, I hope that he is able to keep playing and keeps going. But I also, when it comes to a guy like Trey Lyles, like, you should have had enough on this team to have that hit not be as big as it probably is right now. Like, we're so focused on De'Aaron Fox not being there, but the fact that this team cannot, under any circumstance, play small ball because you just don't have the player to do it, that's a problem. And so, like, look, Trey Lyles is a very, very valuable player. There was, 10, 15 games last year. The Kings just flat out don't win without Trey Lyles' contribution. And so, like, you need him back, and just like you need Fox back. But yeah, you got to be patient.
What'd you think about Wednesday?
Okay, so I am of the belief that a win is a win. And look, let's not fool ourselves and say like the Kings are just like this close. The Kings really aren't playing that well right now. And we saw that in Houston where they just played really horrible basketball. But the Portland game, there's just something small missing and you're not sure what it is. And it could be something as small as
Might be De'Aaron.
well, it could be De'Aaron, but that's something big that's missing. It could be something is because also that team was missing Scoot Henderson.
Mhm.
It was missing Anthony
Brogdon.
Simons. Malcolm Brogdon went down in the first 5 minutes of the game. So yeah, let's not act like that was a team that was full, and they're not a good team as it is, right?
Yeah.
You take away a lot of their starting guards, and they're not. They should be really good at all. I thought it was a gritty performance.
This dude ain't never seen Dr. Mays play.
Oh,
know about
yeah.
Dr. Mays,
Know about
man.
Dr. Mays.
Yeah. Yeah, Skylar Mays just lighting everybody up. Yeah. Well, no, but I think the problem that I have is that you saw a team that, like, if they would have made shots, the Kings would have been just fine. But Keegan Murray shooting 4-16 from the field, like, it really did make life difficult for the rest of the team. And you want that get right game for Keegan, but like that's not happening tonight. Like Lou Dort is a holy terror. Like that's going to be a really, really tough night for Keegan Murray. That guy's not going to let Keegan Murray get away from it at all.
Didn't Keegan have his career high against the Thunder? Dort might not have been matched up on him. I don't. He might have been because I don't know who else he'd be guarding.
Yeah.
Fox.
Was
maybe.
that the game we
That was the
were
game we were at.
working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 31 or something.
Just say it's not a great matchup for him. I mean, like Dort is so incredibly physical.
Well, I like this
So-
because Will Z said that about DeAndre Ayton, and it worked out really good for Domas. So I'm with this. Let's keep this trend going
Okay.
where we talk about these matchups, and then hopefully Keegan's listening.
Max Strus is just too much on this Monday for the Kings.
Yeah.
Keegan got to get going at some point though, because we were talking earlier, like having, if Mike goes the similar route that he went with on Wednesday, Oklahoma City's capable of scoring a lot more points than Portland is.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is what I'm talking about, a little too much respect. The Keegan Murray is everything that we tried to say he was going to be in the offseason. Ain't no Lou Dort going to just stifle him. And that's not even a knock on Lou Dort. But if Keegan Murray is what we all expect, all we said for the last 5-6 months, it shouldn't be, I don't know what's going to happen tonight with Lou Dort guarding him. No, what's going to happen is you get 15 to 20 points.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen if you're who we expect you to be.
I think Keegan's he's a little in his head right now, and he's got to figure out. I mean, he's shooting 33.7% from the field, 25% from three on 8 threes a game. Like there has to be a moment where it looks easier than it is right now for him. And I'll keep pointing out that term that Katie Christensen used, that he's drifting. And I just think it's really a really perfect way to describe when you watch him and he goes up for a shot, he's never square. And when he is,
Keegan's doing that too.
Yeah. Well, that's who I think is drifting. I don't know if there was someone else.
Kevin Huerter was all over the place.
Yeah. You're seeing Keegan. He's not squared with his shoulders to the basket and his hips to the basket when he's going up for the shot. He's going up and then he's trying to square himself while he's going up all the time. And it's like, well, this is not the same player we saw a year ago. It feels like Keegan is moving way too fast, right? Like we always have the rookie thing where the game isn't slowing down for him. I think the pressure of trying to be like take that big step and be the number 2 scorer or number 3 scorer on this team, it's in his head a little bit. He's pressing and he's just a little bit off. I think he'll be fine. His rebound numbers are good. He's averaging 1.3 steals per game. We saw him pick the pocket of like Steph Curry a couple of times. Like he's growing. Even if you look at the numbers against Jeremy Grant, I think Jeremy Grant, just absolutely torched Harrison Barnes. But I think the 2 possessions that Keegan Murray was on Jeremy Grant, he was 0 for 2. And I think Kessler Edwards held him to like 2 for 6. Like, look, I think we're going to start seeing Kessler Edwards. I think we're going to start seeing some of these other pieces. I like that Mike Brown went to Alex Len, gave him a shot. But again, the fact that he can't go to Trey Lyles right now, That's a little tough, especially you go up against a team like OKC that once you get past, Chet, like it would be really nice if you could go small against this team, and you can't do it. And Chet's crazy. Like this is a fun player. Like this is a really good OKC team.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like a contender today, but next year, the year after, man, this is going to be one of those teams that you're looking at. Like, how do you get around OKC? And then you look, they have like a war chest to go get somebody if like a star becomes available and they can add it to this whole thing. And it's sitting right there. They've got so many like first round picks, second round picks, whatever. Like they can go get
Can they
whoever
trade? Sorry, this is just. Can you trade 2 first round picks in the same year? Like if they own 2 picks, one is
7.
theirs, one is whoever's. Can you trade them both?
Yeah, you can trade like 7 as long as you don't have. If you have to have a pick in consecutive seasons, so even if it's not your pick. So right now,
okay.
If they have a 2024 first round pick and then a 2025 and 2026, 27, they can, and then they have extras in those years. They can trade as many as they want, as long as of the day the trade goes on, you don't have where you wiped out all of your first round picks in consecutive.
So as
years.
long as you have one,
yeah,
you can do it. Okay.
Well, let's just say if they have 5 first round picks this year and they have 1 next year, they could trade all 5 first round picks right now for something else because they have next year's pick.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
Kenny wouldn't do it, but someone would.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you make that pick. Cut Jalen Williams.
Team full of 18-year-olds. Get it done.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say something about what did you think about Keon and him starting on Wednesday? And do you think that's something that Mike Brown is gonna stick with until Fox comes back?
Yeah, I'm gonna point back to Game 6 and Game 7 of the playoffs when Mike Brown went to Terrence Davis and liked what he got out of Terrence Davis in Game 6, and then went back to Terrence Davis in Game 7. And said, hey, look, it worked really, really well in Game 6, right? I think Mike Brown, he rewarded a group of players for playing the right way. And that's Keon Ellis, is Kessler Edwards, and is Alex Len. They've all been fighting hard in practice, but when we get to that the Houston game, and you had a bunch of your players just give up, and then these 3 guys go out there and fight all the way down the stretch. I mean, a game where you lost by 25, Keon Ellis ran a +10. Like that dude just kept playing. He kept fighting, and he was hitting his shots, and he's playing defense, all these things. You can't reward a group of players for doing something right, and then they show up in the game that you reward them with, and they help you win that game when you've already lost 3 in a row, whether it's in overtime or not, and then say, oh, but Davion had a better game, so let's just put him back in there. That's not how the reward system typically works, especially with Mike Brown. So I'm going to guess it until De'Aaron Fox is back. He's probably going to give Keon Ellis another look. We might get that whole 5-game thing of Alex Len. Kessler Edwards might get 3 or 4 games. I think it's pretty bold that, the front office went out and got you JaVale McGee. They went out and got you Sasha Vezenkov, and they went out and got you Chris Duarte. Duarte played 11 minutes. The other 2 got DNPs. Like that's pretty bold by Mike Brown. And he doesn't care about how much somebody makes. He doesn't care about, it's about who's going to help the team win, who's playing the right way. And for right now, like Keon Ellis played the right way. Now, it doesn't mean he can't get pulled like 3 minutes into a game for having a bad go. We saw this happen with Neemias Queta, where Neemias Queta is going to be the backup center. And that lasted all of
30 seconds.
Yeah, 82 seconds or something, whatever it might have been. So that doesn't mean that that's the same thing won't happen to Keon. Because if Keon doesn't have it, they're going to go to Colby Jones. Yeah. Colby Jones doesn't have it. They might go to Jordan.
Colby didn't even play the other night.
No. Yeah. But it was a close game.
Sure. I think the one thing that concerns me, it wasn't something I was noticing during the game. It was something I looked at in hindsight. It concerns me tonight. It'll probably concern me, moving forward. De'Aaron is out. Like I love what Keon did. I love what Kessler did. Anyone who watched the game knows that they contributed to that game. I'm just fearful where you get to against these teams that can put up a lot of points. I'm fearful that you can't have guys playing 20 minutes and having zeros. You can't have, you can have one. I don't feel like you can have multiple guys playing 20 plus minutes and they're doing the intangibles, right? At some point, you need someone to do the tangible. You need to either rebound, steals, assists, block. You got to give me some while you're out there. And so that's what I worry about a little bit with Keon and Kessler. Again, I thought both of them played really, really well on Wednesday. But as we talked about this Oklahoma City Thunder team and the way they like to get up, the way they like to play, Kings like to do the same thing. You might have to contribute in the scoring column a little bit, or in the box score a little bit tonight.
Yeah, I would say these two players are totally different. Like Keon Ellis can score.
Mm-hmm.
Like Keon Ellis has proven, at the G League level, at the California Classic, Summer League level, even in the game before, that he can score. He can really shoot the ball. He's worked tirelessly on his jump shot. And he's a catch and shoot guy, but this is exactly his role is exactly who he was at the college level. That's what I've always said about Keon. The reason I think his game will translate really quickly is because you shouldn't be asking him to do additional things that he's not used to. So for right now, he might be bringing the ball up, but he's not running the point in a traditional sense, right? Domantas Sabonis is running the point when he's in the game with him. So I think Keon can go out. He can get you 12 points. He can get you 15 points. He's fast.
Mm-hmm.
He can get out on a break.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great steal guy. So I would look for him to be a little more assertive as an offensive player. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had 9 or 10 points tonight.
Like that.
Kessler, that's just not who he is. Like if you get him 3 wide open looks, you hope that he might hit 1 or 2 of them, maybe 4, and he might somehow get 50% from 3, and then he might get like a transition bucket because he is a young athlete. But that's all you need from him. What you don't need is where like late in the game he had the turnover where he stepped out of bounds. Like, man, just shoot the ball. That's not what you're here to. Nobody is waiting for you to take somebody off the dribble and go score. So he understands that, and he understands a way for him to get on the court is to play great defense and to play great defense without fouling. He's a player that, again, against Jalen Williams tonight, you might really need Kessler Edwards.
Yeah.
Like long, athletic, leaper. Like this is a really tough matchup, but I like Kessler Edwards against Shea. I like him against Josh Giddey. Like he can play multi-position. He's a multi-positional defender. I think that Keon Ellis can defend the 1, the 2.
I was going to say that's probably Keon's draw to start the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to guard somebody.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I think Mike Brown looked at the next couple of games and said, hey, regardless of what's happening with Davion in that starting unit, I'm going to need more size in the backcourt just because of the teams you're playing. And, Malcolm Brogdon at 6'5" starting alongside Shaedon Sharpe. Like that's a big backcourt. And if you're going to go out there and run a 6-foot-tall Davion Mitchell against and Kevin Huerter against those guys, you might have some problems. Again tonight, Josh Giddey's a big guard. Shea Gilgeous is a huge guard. Like these are moments where you can see that there might have been a reason why Mike was making this move, regardless of what was happening with wins and losses and how you were playing. And they still didn't play fast enough. They still put up a pace of like 98. What? That's not fast enough. Like, no. Let's go.
The other thing about Wednesday, though, even with all the starting lineup situations, at the end of the game, there was no doubt who was going to be in the game. I mean, there was never, oh, man, is it going to go back to Keon? No. Davion, you're in there. Mm-hmm. Malik, you're in there. And I think the same thing would happen again tonight. No, there's no knock on Keon or anything else like that. But if the game is close, I think he's going to go with those guys, the backcourt of Davion and Malik to go with Keegan and things of that nature. And that's why I wondered, Ham, if, and we asked the question yesterday and didn't really come up with an answer, was Davion going back to the bench? We all looked at it as a demotion. Like, man, they're not playing good. Let's get somebody else in there that can start this game off the right way. And is it possible he looked at Davion's situation and treated it like he does Malik, where he's like, you know what, I tried you in the starting lineup, but I just think you're better coming off the bench and more effective that way. And he put Keon in there to get Davion back to his spot of coming off the bench the way he does, the way he's not in favor of starting Malik because he wants him coming off the bench. Is it possible that that might have been the case? Because the only reason I asked that is because at the end of the game, it was Davion, without a shadow of a doubt. So it's not like he necessarily was like, I'm going to go with Keon because I just think he's better. It was, let me get Davion into this game the way he's used to it.
I don't think that that's the initial reason, like, in all honesty. I think that Mike saw the pace numbers like everyone else did, and they're demanding that they speed the game up, and there was no reaction from the players. And that's got to come from the guy who's got the ball in his hands, bringing the ball up. Like, there were too many times, 17 seconds getting across the timeline. Too many times where 13 seconds left on the shot clock and you're initiating your offense. That's not Kings basketball. It's not what this team wants to be, who they want to be. Like, look ahead, find somebody, let's go, get the ball rolling. So while, yes, I think like Davion might be more impactful against second unit players, he's the backup to De'Aaron Fox, or he was a few games ago. He is the backup. And so when Fox is out, you rely on him. So like Monk is a 6-man. It's as valuable as a starting point guard, as valuable as a starting center or a starting forward. He's a 6-man on this team. He's a guy who brings change of pace, energy, everything off the bench. That scoring punch, but also he's the guy who's initiating everything. He's the guy who's driving the whole entire scene off the bench. It's great that you want to keep that guy in his position because it's so unique in what he does. Davion should be a guy that could have that steps into the starting lineup, and he can't do what De'Aaron Fox was doing. But I was surprised it wasn't a more consistent 14 points, 5 assists, get the thing moving, everything's fine. That's just not what we saw. It was, the 2 Houston games were a hot mess.
Mhm.
Like, I saw what Davion did against the Warriors is what I thought he would do against Houston, and maybe even a little bit more, because he wouldn't have to chase Steph so much. And then he goes up and it just wasn't good. And then we see him in the next game out. He was really good. Like, he hit his shots, which has never been the problem, but he looked like he's part of what's happening. He's part of the flow of the offense. He's doing the right things. And it's not easy to change who you are as a player. And I think Davion struggled with that a little bit. And the fact that he's like what you would consider a Mike Brown type player, a guy who goes out there and plays hard-nosed defense, but he can't hold on to a spot like that is I think it just tells you that, like, he's not fully on the same page with how the offense is supposed to be run.
I thought he played excellent on Wednesday.
I
thought
too.
he was phenomenal on Wednesday. And
From the second he entered the game.
yeah.
But he played aggressive and with force.
Mhm.
That's not what we've seen. We've seen him be aggressive with force on the defensive end.
Why do you think he's struggling so much with that?
I don't know. Like, it feels like,
I mean, I was willing to give last year, like, all right, whatever. It happened. He's very self-aware, as we've talked about before. But it's just weird to see that kind of the same trend continuing this season.
it kind of feels like a guy who walks into a party and he doesn't know anyone there, and he feels just like a little off and a little awkward and like standing in the corner.
Mhm.
That's what it kind of feels like when he's with the starting unit. Just like something doesn't click, and I'm not sure what it is, but I think he, again, like, you
Go
guys,
introduce yourself.
a lot of people think that,
Get a
like,
drink.
Yeah, go
Come on, man,
mingle.
party.
Yeah, but that's what, like, a lot of people think that I don't like him, and that's not it. I've told you guys from the beginning. I need him to look on the court like everyone else does.
Mhm.
It's pretty simple. We're all moving the same way. We're all doing the same thing. It's like if you're playing soccer and everyone's making 10-yard passes except for Harry Maguire, who thinks he's playing kickball and punts the ball 80 yards down the
That
field
was a
every time.
callback to someone who pissed James off one day. Like, he didn't make that name up out of nowhere.
Oh no,
No.
I didn't.
No,
but
Harry
it's-
Maguire cost James Ham a section title one
A
time.
prize pick. No, Harry Maguire plays for Manchester United,
Oh, I don't know.
and he plays kickball, and everyone else out there is making 10-yard passes, and they have very strict. You're passing around the back, you're going pushing the ball up. It gets back to him, and it's like wail on the ball like you're 8 years old, and all the parents are cheering because you kicked the ball far. That's not like, that's where it is with Davion. There are times where you're like, man, that's just not like, I can see it right away that the whole flow, everything is moving one way and one piece is not moving the same way everyone else is. And I feel for him because, again, to me, it's not about Davion as much as it is about Davion with the Kings. If he's somewhere else where he can be a guy who has a ball in his hands, like, again, I'll bring it up. If he were to get traded to Toronto, I think he would step in and be a starting level point guard and play within their system just fine, because that's his style of basketball. The New York Knicks, like a lot of teams, he would just fit in seamlessly. That's not this style of basketball. And it's not like he's the first guy. Like, go back to the old Kings. They went out one season and got Keon Clark. Oh, square peg, round hole. Like, oh, it stood out the whole time. He's here to block shots. Everything else was a hot mess. You're like, oh my goodness, what is he doing? And that's okay. You have to find the right spot for these guys. And so I hope he figures it out with Sacramento. But if he doesn't, it's not like I think he's not an NBA player. I believe firmly he's a very good NBA player.
We know you like Davion. It's JaVale you don't like.
Well, that's a fact. But
I like JaVale as well.
To go further with that analogy, to me,
can you hold that thought? Because I feel like you might be.
Just real quick.
Okay,
we're gonna have a Kimpiphany. Is that what you're thinking?
I don't know. He looked like he was about to. He looked like he was about to work.
It just feels like Davion. He goes into the starting lineup, and it's almost like he's like, "All right, guys, I ain't trying to step on no toes. I know I'm not the starter. Here's Sabonis. Let me give you the ball." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're getting those.
He's a dude at the party that doesn't know anyone. He doesn't know if he can sit on the couch.
I don't think it's his style. I don't think it's style. I think it's him just saying, like, man, I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers, man. Like, so I'm not going to come in and take 13 shots. It's like, and Mike Brown and everybody else is like, what are you talking about? Take 13 shots. Go up the court. Like,
you got to shoot.
Yeah.
Just don't. You got up to 23 and a half shots. Don't take more than De'Aaron, but you have that like, somebody's got to take him because no one else is. Like, it just feels like, again, like,
I don't know where the
ghost De'Aaron is. Yeah, it's like,
I have no idea.
It's like everyone feels like De'Aaron is still on the court and they have to respect this.
That's what it felt like in Houston.
It feels like, they're waiting for the ghost of De'Aaron Fox to show up and start scoring.
Like Ghost Dad.
Yeah.
Who remembers that movie?
No?
We can't watch it no more.
Oh, it was Dr. Huxtable. We'll come back. We'll talk more Kings basketball. It's the Kings and the Thunder tonight at the Golden One Center for the first ever in-season tournament game that the Sacramento Kings will play in, the first ever in-season tournament game at the Golden One Center. We'll talk about all that when D'Lo and Casey return with the insider, our insider, James Ham, here on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320.
I guess you can't watch Ghost Dad though, because you're trying to support those other actors and actresses. I watch the Cosby Show.
Ghost
still?
Dad, yeah.
Can you still find it?
It's on, because what happened was they
just don't tell you it's on.
Yeah, well, what happened, and this makes sense. Like, Mrs. Huxtable and Denise, and they shouldn't be punished, not able to get money because of what he did.
Well, and it was a great show.
It was a great show.
Absolutely great show.
But if you if you cancel the Cosby Show, then
no, I'm with you.
I Denise can't get the residuals from the syndication, and that's not fair because she didn't do nothing.
And it's one of the most popular shows of all time.
So that's why it still comes. It comes on. It's one of those shows that like comes on TV One, and it'll come on back to back to back to back from like 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Every day.
Yeah.
And it's a great show. You watch it and it's like, I can look at Bill and be like, this guy was a scumbag, but the show it's just perfectly written. Acted,
it was wonderful. It was like, that was a day and age where like everyone like was around the TV to watch it. Like, you can go back, like when I was young, it was like Little House on the Prairie. Everyone was waiting, especially pre like VCR where you couldn't record. So before you could record a show, everyone was watching. And the same, there's a lot of shows like that, but you also reruns didn't happen forever. Yeah. I don't. It's a bummer that type of show that I think it really did open a lot of doors, and then to have him like be that guy, just really really disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Leezy, are the Bulls having a fire sale? Have they? Has there been a trade? I haven't seen a
No.
like
No
if
fire sale.
if they do, like I would take Patrick Williams. But I don't think I'm taking Zach LaVine. If you want to talk about bad defensive players, then yeah, man, they're like that is one of the worst defensive players in the NBA.
They need to score. I'm gonna present something to you when we come back. Yeah.
Okay. I am not him. I also agree with you. Fat Albert was incredible. I love Fat Albert.
Fat Albert was cool. I just liked it. I wasn't like a over the top fan of
But even the idea of
but it
Fat
was
Albert
cool.
now,
It was a cool situation. Yeah.
like we couldn't have a show where you literally just call a guy Fat Albert. Like that's, I mean, just that premise.
It was Kenan Thompson redid.
Hey,
He did the movie Fat Albert.
Yeah. The Bulls, okay, so Leezy, you're saying the Bulls should have a fire sale. But like I remember the Orlando Magic should have had a fire sale for like 8 seasons straight, and they never did it until they finally did. But it was really, really, really like way long overdue. So I don't know if the Bulls will, because coaches don't want to get fired, GMs don't want to get fired. There's a lot to it.
I didn't even read this.
Just doing these guys wrong.
I didn't even read the article, but it's perfect. A nonsense punishment.
Yeah.
The Big Ten suspension of Jim Harbaugh was sloppy and rushed. Pause. No, now nobody is happy.
And it's unjust. That's what it should have said, too.
He should have been thrown out.
But that, did you see they intentionally put it out today?
Look at the guy.
Which is Veterans Day.
Look at the guy.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at you condoning this behavior. Your behavior is shameful. Your behavior is shameful.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
Shameful.
that easy. It's that easy. I'm gonna try and get on the Sac State sidelines tomorrow. I'm gonna just try. That's all I gotta do. Just would have had it. Who blame Central Michigan? How the hell you not know that you don't have some unauthorized guy out there?
How did he get team issued apparel?
That's what I'm saying.
I kept asking, like, how do you get, like, I am at games how does that guy get a credential to get on the field? Like, how?
That's crazy.
Kenny condones cheating.
No, that was crazy.
Kenny condones
cheating.
That's
a little too far. I've always said that's a little too far. That man was on the sideline.
In a disguise.
Yeah, you kind of want him to wear like
too far.
The glasses,
the nose with the mustache. Oh yeah, he damn near did.
That was going too far. I can't condone that one. That was going too far.
Like, where's Waldo? I mean, he's on every sideline. You're like, oh, there he is again. Oh, look at that.
That Central Michigan one was where they got the picture and he's got the glasses on. It's the little tiny light in the corner of the glasses.
That was a night game too. He's got sunglasses. He's got dark sunglasses on at a night game.
Hey, who the hell is that? Oh, that's him.
That's the guy. That's the guy. Wow.
Oh, man.
Kenny supporting
That's
cheaters.
crazy.
It's a damn shame. Don't meet your heroes, kids, because they'll break your heart.
That's crazy. I told him we were having a discussion
ice skating
offline. No, he needs to come out and ice skate for sure, though. That needs to happen.
You think I'm ice skating with this back?
No, okay. You can make it.
I have one spill and I might not get up ever.
It'll be one. No, it'll be one of those things like Rookie of the Year. Like you fall on your back and then you have like a super back.
Henry Gardner.
You have a super back.
That's right.
Super back. Sounds like one of them video vixens from. Come on, man. Super back.
Super back.
Damn. We will be at the ice skating rink immediately following the show. We're headed to downtown. We'll do the second part of our KSFM show out there. Come see us. We'll head into the arena afterwards.
So Leezy, I'll give Leezy credit here, where he asked about the Bulls having a fire sale, and he was like, "What about Zach LaVine?" Ham was like, "I'd take Patrick Williams. I would not take Zach LaVine because you talk about not playing defense. Ugh, Zach LaVine." My thought is, so Mike Brown is 100% right. And other people that say the Kings need to play defense, 100% right. Fundamentally, Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. For this particular group and this team, Phil Mike is like, I'm not saying he's doing this, but if we had the mic'd up segment in the locker room, Mike might be like, you know what, guys, our goal is to hold every team that we play under 30 points a quarter. That's what we want to do. That's what's going to get us a victory. And I say with this group, no. He should be telling them our goal is to score 30 points a quarter. That's when we're our best.
40, 35.
Yeah. But I think that's the, and not to say that Mike is wrong or you or anybody else is wrong. Yes, you got to play. You guys are right. But Zach LaVine, just use an example, he'd be part of that. Yeah, let's get over here and let's score 30 points a quarter. And let's see who catches up. What do you think about that mindset for this particular team?
Okay, so as a system, this team should be scoring 30 points every quarter. They're that good. Like, the system is that good. Like, if you want to add in freelance pieces like Zach LaVine and, like, again, the guy can get on a heater. He can score 50 on any night, right? So I don't want to take away from what he can do, but like, it becomes a fit issue. I would much rather have, like, realistically, I would much rather have Kevin Huerter at half the price or a third the price, who actually does compete on the defensive end. He might not be great, than a player who literally doesn't play defense at all and is only there to score. This team can score 130 points every night if they want without having a Zach LaVine. Like, if I'm like going through that team and saying, hey, are there pieces on that team that could make my team better? Yeah, I mean, DeMar DeRozan can make your team better, right? But I would choose a guy like Patrick Williams. I would choose a guy like Alex Caruso. I'd take those guys on my team.
Isn't that what they did this offseason, though? They just went out and got some defensive guys.
The season before they did.
Well, Duarte, they drafted a defensive guy like Kobe Jones. They went and got JaVale McGee. They got Sasha. That's an offensive guy. But, like, everything was geared toward, let's just get, like, better on defense as opposed to let's add to the firepower that we have. And now we're 2 weeks in, we're complaining about what the hell's going on with the offense.
That's fair, but it also could have been like what was available to you.
True.
Like in terms of adding firepower, like, is this person really going to add firepower to us? Because you guys, I know you were using the example of Zach LaVine. Like, doesn't DeMar DeRozan fit?
Yeah,
I feel like DeMar DeRozan will work really well here. Now I know Zach LaVine has a higher ceiling of scoring. I guess that was a stupid way of putting it, but you know what I mean. DeMar could be that constant, though.
I think they can use another shot creator outside of Fox.
No,
I got you.
I agree with you, but you also have to remember that DeMar doesn't shoot the three ball at all. So he averages around 2 3-point, 1.6 3-point attempts per game for his career. Like, so the Kings, like, pace and space game, I don't know that he truly would fit. And the fact that he's 34 years old and still makes a lot of money. Those are things that I would kind of circle and say.
Well, I didn't mean for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I just meant immediately. If you
sign him to a baseball contract.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Well, I mean, he's a $28.6 million expiring contract. That's what he is.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money, and you would have to come up with enough players to make that deal work. But, like, again, if you were to trade, like, just like if you were to move a piece to go get Alex Caruso and slide him into the backup point guard, but again, the deal with Caruso is he can play the 1, he can play the 2, he can even defend the 3. Really good defender, big steal guy, but he also shoots 40% from 3 or close to it. So, like, there are players out there that I think you can go get that would actually help this team. I just don't know. Like, you got to choose wisely and, to build a team right. And you can look at Chicago and say, like, look, it doesn't take a genius to know that starting Zach LaVine and Kobe White in the backcourt is a problem. You get 2 guys that, are me guys on the offensive end and 2 guys that don't play defense at all. So, like, how are you going to stop anybody? It's just kind of the same thing we saw with Utah in game 1. Like, you got Jordan Clarkson, and then who did they start with him? Well, it wasn't Colin Sexton, was it? No, they came off the bench with him.
It was it Chris Dunn?
No, they didn't start Chris Dunn either. No, they went with an offensive-minded.
Oh, Jordan. It was Clarkson and
it wasn't even a Akai Abaji.
I think it was. It had to be either Sexton or Dunn. I think it was Dunn.
You talking about this year?
Yeah,
the first game it was Taylor Horton Tucker.
Oh yeah.
THT.
See? Yeah. So you got two guys that are me guys and that are score first guys. It's like, hey man, the best scorer on your team is Lauri Markkanen. Why aren't you just getting the ball to him and putting shooters and distributors around him?
Markkanen took 15 shots in that one. Jordan Clarkson 16.
Yeah. I need Lauri Markkanen to be at the 21, 22 shots a game or 20. Like that's an incredible score. Yeah.
We know. Yeah, I mean, we're not there yet, though, are we?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
No,
I mean, everyone's looking at Chicago. Like, come on, what are y'all doing? I mean, that's a conversation that can be had today, tomorrow, a week from now, or in February. It's all going to be timely with that Chicago team.
Yeah. Well, that I'd also point out that the Kings have had interest in the past in Vucevic. Like, if you're gonna try something like going with two bigs, that guy checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I thought
it's big Vucevic.
Got him.
It's funny you say that because I was having a thought because I heard people having a conversation last night about Karl Anthony Towns. I was like, man, people just be hating Karl Anthony Towns. If they could swing a deal, the Kings could swing a deal to get Cat in Sacramento to match up with Sabonis. I'd take those 2 7-footers. Well, Sabonis ain't 7 feet, but yeah.
I think NBA has them listed as like 7'2", 7'1", something absurd like that.
NBA tripping.
I definitely would avoid Karl Anthony Towns.
See what I'm saying?
I just don't like throughout his career. Like, again, he's been through a bunch of tragedy stuff now. And like, so you kind of feel for him with some of this, but like there's stretches of games where he just would not play. And the Timberwolves had nowhere to go.
You mean figuratively?
No, like he made a decision to not play and they checked his knee up and down. He passed every single test, and he still sat out 2 months. And the year after, I think Jimmy Butler left, and they were just like, we don't know what to do anymore. Like I knew coaches
Maybe he was
on
strike.
No,
yeah,
that works.
There were coaches on that team, and they're just like, he shows up and goes, yeah, I'm just not feeling it. And they're like, and they just kept dealing with it again and again and again. He's, like, if you're going to be making that much money, you need to be flat out a winner. And I'm not sure that Karl Anthony Towns has proven that throughout his career. Now, he's playing better right now, and he's figuring out how to play with Gobert, and they've got, an incredible young talent in Anthony Edwards. But he, to me, is a player that you're really taking a risk on, because you look at his numbers at times and you think he's close to AD, and he's not AD. Man. And that guy misses a lot of games too. And I would still take him because he's so incredibly talented. The stuff with Karl Anthony Towns has never been like, he doesn't jump off the page as a guy who's going to be out there durable, fighting for his team every time. Again, another guy who doesn't really play defense, who shows flashes of brilliance, and you're like, okay, I'm in. But there's too much question mark.
If you could find a way to keep, if it didn't involve Sabonis, Fox, Keegan, or Monk, I'd make that trade in a heartbeat. I'd get Cat in this starting line and put him at the 4 or 5, whatever you want to call him, as Sabonis. I'd do that in a heartbeat. Wouldn't think twice.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who would feel that way.
I'm a one-man wolf pack, him.
All right.
Nobody want Cat. I'm on an island. The chat even saying it. They don't want Cat. Nobody in the league wants Cat.
I don't think that's true.
Everybody else talking about they Timberwolves need to trade him.
Yeah, but I think there are teams out there that have players that they feel the same way about, that how I'm saying with Cat, that you could make a swap of players that just aren't the right fit anymore. Like I always had brought up, like him and John Collins in the swap, John Collins would have made a lot more sense next to Rudy Gobert. And, like whether that's working out in Utah or not, but it clearly wasn't working out anymore. And maybe he, like Cat, would make perfect sense. And maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't in Atlanta. But I think there are deals like that where you can see players who just don't really make the same sense they did when they were young with the team. And you could see two teams having the same feelings about separate players and swapping those types of players.
I think Karl Anthony Towns is the number 2 on Minnesota. Works great. It's just he's the number 2.
Yeah.
Like that's Anthony Edwards' squad. Like you work everything around Anthony Edwards. That team's 5-2.
They're playing well.
I got 2 L's at the top of the Western Conference. I didn't see Dallas being there, and I didn't see Minnesota being there. Not even early. I was like, Minnesota ain't gonna do it. They toy with y'all every offseason, and you think you got something here, and you never do. They look, with the offseason that Anthony Edwards had, man, they're cooking. Dallas. I've watched one Dallas game. I watched it 27 times because the NBA TV wouldn't stop playing it. And that's the only sample size I have of them. I can't figure out why it's working other than Luka's, playing like an MVP and Kyrie is playing a phenomenal wingman to him.
It's funny. You look at the Lakers too, all the way at the bottom of the standings.
Yeah.
Down, and the fact that they can't shoot the 3 ball is,
and LeBron's already talking.
I mean,
when LeBron starts talking,
the only thing that's left is tweeting.
That's what I tell y'all. That's what I told them. Hey, Jared, Jackson, don't unpack.
What he say? That's all he said. You need to learn how to fit in instead of.
How about trying to? Try fitting in instead of fitting out or something like that.
Wow.
I don't know. Just my opinion. That was the old Kevin Love. That was the Kevin Love tweet.
I don't know. Just my opinion.
Where Kevin Love said, 10 years later, however many years later it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, I thought that was childish. Him and LeBron are obviously good,
man.
but
I don't know. Just my opinion.
I'll tell you, right now, the Lakers shooting 29.6% from 3 as a team.
Oof.
They're averaging 109 points per game, which is low. They're giving up 116.3.
Stop trying to find a way to fit out and just fit in. Be a part of something special. Just my thoughts. That was the quote. Not just my opinion. Just my thoughts.
That's from LeBron.
Yeah, that was LeBron to Kevin Love. That was LeBron to Kevin Love back in I don't remember what it was. I think it was their first year together. So that was what? 10?
Yeah.
12? 10? 2000?
No, because
then
he went to Miami. It's like 14, 15 or something like that. 15.
Okay.
That's when the Warriors won.
Okay. No, he was with Cleveland when the Warriors won.
Yeah.
But yeah, because he was with Miami. Yeah, came back to Cleveland. You're right. Sorry. Just my thoughts.
That's what I'm gonna
start saying. When LeBron starts tweeting.
I'm gonna start saying now.
Just my thoughts. That's gonna be the new hashtag king. It's gonna be code for something.
There you go.
You think Mike is doing that? Because I heard you and Kyle talking about this earlier. You actually just mentioned a few minutes ago that the 5-game. Mike looks at the season in 5-game increments, and are we looking at a 5-game stretch of Alex Len over JaVale? I'll expand that thought a little bit further. Are we looking at a 5-game stretch of Keon, Kessler, and Alex with potentially JaVale on the bench, and perhaps more intriguing to some Kings fans, Sasha on the bench?
I think it's really going to depend on matchups. So I would love to say, yeah, he's going to give a 5-game stretch, but I mean, you got the Cavs coming up, which is one of the most crazy long teams that we've seen. You might need JaVale McGee in that game, right? But I also think you might need Kessler Edwards in that game over Sasha. You might need that defense. You go up against the Lakers, again, a team that has some really, tall, long players. Christian Wood coming off the bench, Jackson Hayes, AD, and then you got LeBron. It might be situational, but I could also see a run of games here where situational fits with the players that we're talking about. And the fact that, again, that you don't have a Trey Lyles that you can go to mix things up and to, whether it be like to take Kessler Edwards minutes or to take Alex Len's minutes. That's a big deal. So, and as soon as Fox is back, I would assume that Keon Ellis will go back to the bench. Doesn't mean that he hasn't earned himself a longer look somewhere along the season, but this also will likely coincide with the G League season starting up. And, the plan has always been for those guys to spend plenty of time on that G League squad because they're really trying to go out and win something.
Yeah. I mean, these guys earned it. You know what I mean? Keon and Kessler Edwards and especially Alex Len, they earned as many opportunities as they're going to get moving forward because they play hard. I talked about it the other day with Alex Len. For me, feels like Alex Len never plays bad. He may not be like the greatest player ever or for 15 minutes, not like great. I don't know what the plus minus is or whatever, but it feels like if you watch him, he never plays bad. And I was happy to see him get some tick the other day. There's nothing against JaVale. I just like seeing Alex play because he's just super solid. So I'd love to see him get more opportunities moving forward as well.
Yeah, I'm with you because Alex doesn't like he can frustrate you, but he doesn't play outside of who he is, right? And he works tirelessly with like Jay Triano on being ready and catching passes from all kinds of angles and stuff. And then we see it instantly with Malik Monk, where Monk wants to throw the lob, but made a mental adjustment so quickly to Alex Len and said, "I can't go do that with him."
He forgot one time.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that ain't JaVale."
Yeah, but those little passes to Alex that I thought Alex played really well, and I thought him and Malik, they really played well together. And Alex isn't like he's not the roller that JaVale is. But first of all, he's a huge man. Secondly, he sets a much better screen than JaVale McGee. Like watch him on when they're running all their DHO and their high stuff. They don't run the DHO through him. They invert the DHO so the guard has the ball again, and he's making the decisions as opposed to Alex. Where Sabonis, they give Sabonis the ball and he's directing traffic. Alex is out there setting screens and the guards are moving into his orbit. But like he sets a clean pick all the time, and it's a big screen, and he doesn't get out of the way, and he hits people, and that's what you're looking for in a guy who's going to play 10, 12 minutes a game. Go out there, don't make mistakes, don't do a bunch of crazy passes or throwing the ball off the backboard or doing things that like if you have a shot, take it. If you don't, that's okay. Move the ball, like do the right things at all times. And I feel like Alex is more prone to that. Like just becoming a really solid NBA veteran who goes out there and says, okay, I'm not going to screw up for the next 4-minute stretch. I'm going to play hard. Someone wants to come in and throw some crazy, like try to put me on a poster. I'm going to hit him or I'm going to get in the way. And if I get posterized, I do. But if not, he's a good defender. He can play even on the perimeter a little bit more than some of the other guys have shown. And so I'm okay with Alex Len.
Kings win tonight if what?
Keegan Murray gets loose. I mean, I don't, again, Lou Dort's tough, but like this is like you're waiting for that moment for Keegan to really bust loose. And, I'd say the other thing, if Domas can find a way to get Chet Holmgren in foul trouble quickly, because if not, Chet makes your paint touch thing, your draw and kick offense. He makes it really tough because that dude blocks. He's all over the place. He is again, Kyle said it. If it weren't for the fact that Victor Wembanyama's out there like doing crazy things, looking like Jack the Pumpkin King, we would all be talking about Chet Holmgren doing the same thing. Like
I want to get your references, man. I really do.
That's the Nightmare
Before Christmas. Yeah. So I want to.
I guess I'll put it on my list of movies to watch.
I've never seen it, but
Chet is really good.
Yeah, I like Chet. I'm excited to watch him tonight.
He would have been so perfect.
Might even stay the whole game for this one.
Oh,
that's true.
There we go.
I said might.
Might.
Calm down, everyone. Relax.
That's awesome.
Relax.
I like Alex.
You particularly relax. I want to see Keon get on the scoreboard. I want to see Kessler get on the scoreboard because I'm with James. I think both of those guys are going to play tonight. Just get a win. I really don't care how you get a win. Just get a win.
1-0.
Yeah,
in the pool play.
Yeah.
We got a championship.
Because I'm different. I want them to win.
Yeah. Damn it. I got a championship to win with this one. Kings gonna win in season tournament, baby.
Yeah, I'd say go out there and look like the Kings. That's what I want to see.
And that's
go out there and look like who you should look like.
You're at home too.
And you're playing a team who I think wants to play like you did last year. You're looking at the way the Pacers are playing right now. You look at Oakland. You look at a lot of teams are getting up and down the floor in the early part of the season. I do love that, though. That's such a common thing that happens in the offseason. You hear coaches say, hey, what are you guys working on? Well, we want to run. We want to run. And then coaches and I think players recognize, oh, no, 10 games. Oh, we're not built. We're not built to run like that. Yeah. This Kings team is. Some of these, I think the Pacers are really good. I think they're going to fall back. Oklahoma City Thunder, I think they could keep up. They got them young legs. But a lot of these teams that we're seeing score a lot of points, I think they're going to fall back. The Kings need to establish themselves, reestablish themselves as a offensive juggernaut in the NBA. We're headed out, including James. He's coming with us. We're headed out to the ice skating rink. James is coming with us right across the street from the Golden One Center. If you're going to the game, park the car, come over and say hi. Yeah. We're going to hang out. We got tickets to the Sacramento Comedy Festival that we're going to be giving away, and we're going to be doing the second part of our KSFM show live from the ice skating rinks. Come through. And then, of course, if you're going to the game, we'll see you there. We're going to make our way in and watch the in-season tournament game with the Kings and the Thunder. Thank you so much for being with us today.